Step into the octagon. My water, more water, shining. I'm a great American professor. Oh, it's like a tumor, I get you the rope. Oh, college school, I got a hate. Training inland, a friend of cannabis, flying triangles, elevates. Yo, I represent Test Planet. Professor O's, America, America. Achuga mare, pure giri, ambassador. Professor O's, America, America. Mamote, Brazil, oi halate. Professor O's, Test Planet. Professor O's, America. Migi won't say, won't you, mawale.
We've talked about a couple of different tilts versus the turtle from the rear side, but there are actually some tilts that you can do from the front side in a front headlock. All right, I'm going to go over two of those. Let's look at the first one. Earlier when I was mentioning like a pronated grip on the front headlock and how it can be used for pushing, I discussed how we can push the arm to help keep it closed, okay? This is kind of utilizing the similar pronation effect right here with the front headlock, but after we do this tilt. So I have the pronated grip, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up like I'm sitting on his head, and I'm actually going to take my knee and push it down to close this elbow and try to lean over the side right here, okay? Now, as you can probably guess, that's a very exaggerated effect, okay? It really will just lead to some kazushi, which gives us a dilemma, but I'm going to show you like what the actual intended effect right off the rip is. If you look at this side, then if I can successfully tilt him, like I mentioned with the pronated grip earlier, then when I tilt him, look, we're already in an anaconda position right here, okay? And then I would start bridging. Now the dilemma also works with the same dilemma of where if a hand fights. So he feels me coming up here to tilt, and it allows me to go behind, okay? The main principle of this move is a numbers game. We're trying to outnumber what's happening here. So he has like two hands to defend, and his feet are holding him up on the mat. When I'm using my two hands to attack and my feet are on the mat, then it's 2 versus 2. But when I tilt him, like I was talking earlier with the pronated grip, then now it's really like 3 versus 2, okay? So I can use my legs involved right here to help pummel over his arm, okay? So like let's say we were right here and he decided he wanted to stay belly down, so he forces his way back belly down. Look, I can go behind. So the idea here is, yes, it's a dilemma to maybe shoot an anaconda choke or get a go behind, but really what's happening here is the opportunity for us to use our legs by tilting us to a side in a position where he can't use his legs, okay? So I think that's a great tilt and a great threat right there, and it could give you a lot of opportunities to move around an opponent that's stalling, okay? Or just you can't get them to move from under turtle. So I hope that helps. I mentioned that there were 2 tilts, so we're going to look at another one. And the difference between the two is whether I've overtaken the arm or not. You see in the first one that I showed where we're sitting on the head, you see like he could have this arm wrapped around my leg right here, and I had to get it free by tilting us. See, now I can free it, right? Well, in this second tilt, we've already overtaken the arm, okay? And maybe like I overtook it, I was going behind him right here, but he does this little pummel with his elbow right here to get to the center. Yeah, right here, okay? And he starts shooting for a short underhook. This is a great opportunity for me to lean this way and threaten this, this arm and guillotine, okay? Now, the dilemma here is that he's faced with the option of, do I stay based or do I go belly up in a supine position? Okay, see, if he goes belly up in a supine position, yes, it defends the choke, but it allows me to heist to a top position. Even if he keeps this elbow flared and I can't get to an anaconda, it allows me to heist to a top position, maybe go to mount, okay, and start threatening the mounted arm and guillotine. But that's an option that he has right there, that we have right there if he goes into a supine position where he turns belly up, okay? Now the other option is I cut the corner, he's getting a short underhook. I decide I'm gonna end up staying in front of him anyways. I might as well threaten this guillotine, and he stays based. So because he stays based right now, there's no tilt. Now what might be interesting here is I will actually get the choke if I can throw this leg over. Okay, you feel like you got a tap to this? Yeah. Okay. So when I actually put the gas on, this is actually a submission. Okay, but if he's smart, he'll try to stay like perpendicular with me. You see, I can't catch that. But what's interesting here is this gives me the option to walk my legs out, capture his arm, and actually get an anaconda of my own. So this would be this would be kind of like, instead of me being in front of him, I've gotten off on the side of him right here, and he's trying to recover. So I lay on his head with the arm and guillotine. I try to throw this leg over. He walks. Okay. I can get my leg out because I'm on my side and he's not. And I can lock up this anaconda. Okay. Now what I have to do is bridge, get him on his side, and then bridge myself, and I'll get the tap. So those are two front headlock tilts that we can use, or tilting threats that lead into a dilemma that addresses our opponent's body orientation to try to react to our front headlock. Okay, so I hope those can serve you as you're dealing with the next guy that turtles against you in a front headlock, because I found those are pretty interesting. So hope that helps. Boom. Let's go a little bit deeper into what could happen in some of these tilts and the opponent's reaction, and how we can actually chain attacks to address it. So let's say I went for that anaconda tilt we just did. This anaconda tilt, the second variation we just did, and I shot this anaconda, right? I bridged, but the problem was my hand didn't stay on the back of his lat right here, okay? If we turn, walk, just walk. See how I want this on the back? If it's on the front, this can be a problem, okay? So he reaches up and he peels it. Now I have no attack. Now what's cool about this is I can chain this with the darce by simply switching, heisting, and I'm already on a perpendicular angle to hit that darce. Okay, so let's look at it from another angle. So I hit this crappy anaconda right here. He peeled the arm, okay? Now, when he peels this down, if he stays on his, stay on your side right here. If he peels this down, all I gotta do is switch my grips and walk myself up perpendicular with the heist to shoot this anaconda, or sorry, to shoot this darce. They get confusing sometimes, but the darce is from a perpendicular body position, and here I am, went from a parallel to a perpendicular angle because he pulled my arm off from the anaconda. So, just real quick, I could go reverse. Look, I could be an anaconda right here. He pulls the hand. All right, he's pulling it literally right down to the angle I need to hit this darce. So that is a pretty cool chain you can do with the anaconda. Just make sure you lock yourself onto his body orientation by throwing your leg over to mount to finish that darce. So hope that helps. One final dilemma that might serve you in the front headlock would be this darce breakdown dilemma. So let's say he's on a turtle position facing the camera. and I want to get him to turn over right here. Uh, Remember when I talked about how he can reach up here and undo these hands? It's the same as if I'm in a chin strap, front headlock, whatever. If he bases with his elbows, his hands can still come up and start peeling at this, okay? So what's cool is if he does that, look at this elbow right here. If he does that, if his hands are wide right here and he's not trying to defend it, then he'll get broken down. If he reaches up, you'll notice his elbow has to come in, okay? And then I can hit a go behind, okay? So just like the normal front headlocks and guillotines, when his hands come up to defend in this Darce breakdown right here, I can still hit a go behind, pummel my knee behind his elbow right here, and then ride the hips. Or I can, if I go and I pummel my knee behind him, I could go back into that whole guillotine front headlock tilt where I've overtaken the arm. Maybe I'm trying to get to the hips, but he steps his hip back. Yeah, and he goes wide, and he starts to face me again, and then I can ride this and lay on his head, okay? I could lay on his head with that power guillotine, or if he's beat that knee as well, then I could lay on his head with the regular guillotine, moving into that tilt dilemma that we discussed earlier, where maybe he's supines and I heist on top, or I move to the anaconda. So I hope all that wraps up all the front headlock stuff. I don't really want to do any more front headlock stuff. We've been going over it for like 2 weeks, so we're gonna move on to something on the next module. So maybe we'll look at coming on top and pinning people instead. So I hope you guys have enjoyed these front headlock stuff. I'm sure there's a lot more out there, but that's all I got for now. So hope that helps.